see the...
Go ahead, we're coming back.
All right. We are back live. This is your Bolo Punch Boxing Hour, brought to you by George Rogie Insurance. www.bolopunchboxinghour.com. Streaming to you live, as always, Ustream.tv. Emil Soto Popinski Kagaman on my left, your right. Also, Timmy the producer Patterson at the controls. Nestor Garza Romero on location tonight in Lakes of the Four Seasons, actually. It's something you need to take care of. So,
I was to say, other words, he's staying home.
he's at home this evening. He had a gas leak at his house today. Wow. It was pretty serious. I mean, you have to open all the windows. I mean, thank God this didn't happen in November, December.
Yeah.
This actually happened in a month on a particular day where it's not that bad out.
So did he call Steve?
He called one of Steve's coworkers. That's for sure.
Do want to throw this out there, people. Ustream dropped the chat, so we'll try to get that back up and reset if we can. But the way you can reach us, guys, and we'll get your comments on the air, is through the Yahoo Instant Messenger, if you have that, and the keyword is Bolo Punch Boxing Hour, all one word.
That does not mean run away.
Yeah, that does not mean you can still listen to us. As far as we can tell, everything is good as listen to us. Just if you want to chat with us, just do it on Yahoo right now.
We got a pretty big weekend coming up this weekend. Fights in Chicago, in the Chicago area, as far as 1 in a million having a card. Two of the top women fighters, Mary McGee and Christy Fulmer, I believe her name is.
Christy the Rose Fulmer. Yep.
I haven't seen her fight. I've
actually judged one of her fights.
She retired and then came back, basically.
Yeah. It was a good while ago,
but she was pretty dangerous while she fought, as far as I understand. And it's the biggest test up to this point is Mary's faced. I mean, she fought Rita Figueroa, but that ended early because of a cut. This one, we're counting on being a full fight, and then...
well, we counted on that one being a full fight,
yeah.
So, I mean, things happen, but I don't know. I mean, I have to go with Mary McGee on this fight. Christy Fulmer has a lot going for her. I don't know. I've known Mary McGee for a number of years, since she was essentially a teenager. And I've studied her, I've been at every one of her fights since her pro debut several years ago. Even drove the van for a few of her amateur fights. So I know her as a fighter inside and out, and I think she's going to be able to prevail.
And she's definitely got a lot better here, probably in the last year and a half.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, but oh man, this will probably be her hardest fight yet.
Yeah, that's what I would assume. And then, of course, we got the ESPN fights downtown Chicago this weekend as well. Escalante and
Antonio Escalante,
and also Deontay Wilder.
Deontay Wilder, from the 2008 Olympic team. He was the only medalist of America with the bronze medal in 2008.
And I'm not sure who the third fight that'll be on the ESPN fights that night, but
I don't know. I don't have it in front of me, but we'll be able to talk about it a little bit later on. When we talk about Karl Froch is going to be taking on the former middleweight champion Jermaine Taylor. Jermaine Taylor actually moving up to super middle for this and challenging the WBC super middleweight champion. Karl Froch is going to be in MGM Grand in Connecticut.
It's odd that Froch's coming over here to defend this title,
especially when he's the champion. It's odd that he would come to defend it here.
And he draws pretty good overseas. I don't know why he decided to come over here. I'm sure it's because of getting to fight someone like Taylor. I don't know. It's going to be a very tough fight for Taylor. I'm picking Froch in this one. I think Froch's going to end up beating Taylor.
I've only seen 2 Karl Froch fights, and they were not even his most recent 2 fights. So I'm not going to sit here and say that I can speak intelligently on the fighting stylings of Karl Froch. What I did see, I was highly impressed with, but like I said, that was well over 2 years ago. Who I saw him fight, I don't even remember, but he blasted those 2 guys. Jermaine Taylor, I know everything there is to know about Jermaine Taylor. So
he's a little even more prevalent in the States. Obviously, we see him a lot more often here. I mean, I think a lot of people here in the States are going to be surprised by the talent of Karl Froch. I believe his last fight was against Pascal. Was his last fight?
Jean Pascal, yeah. And it depends on who you listen to. Occasionally you hear him called Froch. Sometimes you hear him called Froch. Depends on what side of the pond you're on. Evidently. So over here, he's definitely Karl Froch.
And I mean, if you haven't got to see the breakdown of that fight, there was actually a little highlight video on our page as well to check that out. Came from overseas. A guy that lives overseas actually has a YouTube site that I found and has a lot of stuff on there and had a nice little what do you call it? Upcoming fight video basically for this fight. So
I love when people go out of their way to make that stuff.
yeah, I do too, and especially for fights like this where you got a guy coming from overseas that a lot of people don't know about. A guy from overseas, one of his countrymen, can put that on there that knows a little bit more about him, and they can get that information a little bit easier than us as well.
Well, it's their guy.
Exactly.
It's their guy. They know exactly what they're doing. We've got Deandre Lattimore, who's going to be taking on Cory Spinks.
That's that undercard on that fight. They have him here pictured at the Cardinal Stadium. Obviously, Cory Spinks is from
St. Louis.
St. Louis, yeah.
And Deandre Lattimore, I'm not sure exactly where he is from, but he brings thunder in both hands wherever he goes.
And Cory Spinks is good at making you look bad.
Spinks makes everybody look bad, whether he can win or not.
That slick defense that he has doesn't have a lot of power.
He is very different than his father when his father fought. His father used brute force, and while his dad, Leon Spinks, wasn't a knockout puncher, so to speak, he was just relentless. He just would not stop. I mean, that's what he did with Ali. I mean, granted, it was a 99-year-old Ali at the time. He was totally spent, but Leon really just kept going, and he was an Olympic gold medalist. I'm not about to pretend that he wasn't a big deal.
But he probably shouldn't have beat Ali. It was late in Ali's career, and
well, he definitely wouldn't have beaten anywhere near a prime Ali.
There's a lot of controversy around that too. A lot of people say that Ali actually lost that fight on purpose because he knew it was a guy that he could win his belt from, win it back from, and it would have broke a record for regaining the belt. I don't remember. I think it was 3 times.
That was his 3rd time, yeah.
Yeah,
and that was a big deal before Evander. And
they had 4 different belts, and
at the time, and they lose one, but then win another. I love Evander Holyfield, but the way that he won belts is different than the way Ali did. It's a different thing altogether.
Yes.
There's a difference between being the undisputed world champion and being the WBA vacant interim sort of Hubo interim.
But Cory, his son, is not quite as exciting as probably you would say that
Cory is the son.
Yeah, well, he's not quite as exciting as what Leon was. But he's very skilled.
He's actually a better boxer than his father ever was.
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll have to see here. Lattimore has dynamite, so
we shall see, and I'm excited about that one. What I want to talk about next is that in about 20 minutes we're going to have Bert Sugar here on the line. It's recorded. I spoke with him yesterday afternoon, and he's got some interesting tidbits about Manny Pacquiao against Ricky Hatton that's going to be coming up here in just 3 weeks at this point.
Yeah, there was we actually had that poll up there, and a lot of people are voting for Ricky Hatton on our website. Second most is Cotto Clottey. It's kind of surprising. I didn't think as many people. Clottey was as well known as a lot of the fighters, and I think that our fans on our website are showing us that they do know the sport pretty well and know that this is going to be a tough fight for Cotto. So
I mean, when Cotto, who did Cotto fight? Cotto fought Quintana, and Margarito fought Clottey. That was that double header that I bought I bought the poster from, that all 4 of them autographed. And then I was going to give that away on a message board that I was a part of for a good while, and then the message board sort of dissolved, and then a new message board has popped back up that I admittedly don't get on as often as I'd like to, but I don't know. Maybe we'll have to give that back as a prize again. I mean, it's a very, very cool thing. Cotto actually signed it twice. So
yeah. Well, and Quintana's become a little bit more of a star than what he was at that time, and
since beating the big man.
Yeah, and that was while he beat the man that beat the man, basically.
That's how that works. Yeah. Let's go ahead and take our second break of the night. We'll be right back with all the fights that got us through the week. This is your Bolo Punch Boxing Hour. We'll be right back.